All right, welcome back, everybody. Hey, yeah, sorry I haven't been on for a while. Again, I still have some personal things that I've been attending to, but I've also been doing a lot of work in the background, and I'm excited to share a bunch of updates that I have on the Aventurine app. So let's go ahead and jump into it. First thing is first, the website. I've been doing a lot of work on the website and the branding and trying to make it more polished and cohesive and uniform across the website, the app, and anything else that is related, like checkout pages and the Gumroad pages and all that. So the first thing with the website is we got a new hero section. I wasn't really enjoying like the slideshow that was there, showcasing some of the features of the app. It was just too small. You couldn't really see what you were looking for, and the things that it was showing wasn't super captivating. It wasn't, enticing information that told the user what the app actually does. So we've moved that down into the body of the website and just have a nice, simple, fun, interactive hero section here. So I really like this. Um, this is pretty cool. I had Claude Opus 5 whip this up. There was some iteration, there were some bugs along the way. There might still be some bugs, to be honest, but as you can see, it kind of like resets on its own. But I think it's a lot better than what we had before. So, and then we have our call to action buttons here. So that's fantastic. Another big thing is the new logo. So the logo is super simplified. Let's see if we can actually open this image. Yeah, this is the new logo. It's super simple. It's supposed to basically just be like an aventurine stone, but it's also like, an A kind of a little bit. But it's just super simple and minimal. And I was kind of fighting against that for a while, but I realized the value and why so many organizations and businesses and startups and all that opt with this modern, simple icon. You want to be able to tell what it is, even when it's like in a tiny little icon up there in the tab. Like, I don't know if you can see that. But that's one of the main reasons. There's also just clear contrast. If you have too many colors going on, sometimes that contrast and that composition gets lost at smaller sizes. And we're optimizing for the modern mobile world here. So, small icons, the tab, or on the dashboard or anything like that. Your dock rather. Um, so yeah, I really like it. I think it turned out pretty good. I'm not saying it's a final iteration or anything, but I think we're definitely going to keep this for a while. I actually really do like it, and it feels in line with the brand's identity that I'm trying to kind of create here. So we got that new icon. Excited about that new hero section. Um, if we go to how it works, this is more or less the same. However, we did update the actual graphics that show here. So we have from exports to insights in minutes, no account linking, integrations, or credentials to hand over, and export from your bank is all you need to get started. Short and sweet, and I think that helps communicate how the app works. So export from your bank, import to Aventurine. We can see that there's a new animated screenshot here, and you'll notice a lot of different colors and formatting that may not have been there since you've last checked in. So we'll go over that. And then your ledger becomes insight, and it shows the more accurate modern graphics that we're using for the app itself. So that looks really cool. About the project, we changed the copy on this. I'm always changing the copy on the website, so it's not to obfuscate anything. There's a change log that I can furnish, but um, I really just wanted to update. I'm trying to keep it concise and organized, and I noticed that like when we were first building the website, there was kind of just mentions of things throughout, right? Like it was just we're constantly talking about the privacy in every section and talking about how it works in every section. And so we're kind of bringing that in here. So about should be about the project and really nothing else. So the project is what it is and it's the business model. So I do believe that money management apps should improve your financial wellness and provide peace of mind. We chose the old-fashioned business model. We built an app that you will pay for once and use forever. That is true. An offline app that you own means no enforced subscription license, no in-app ads or purchases, and no tiered access. And you can see I actually have a little bit of a problem there. So there's not a space in between that comma and that and. So I have to fix that. I might go ahead and fix that right now. Give me a second. Pull up my VS Code. Go into the file here. Excuse me. Yeah, let me just fix that real quick. It's a quick fix. Let's see, that's the charts, features and screenshots, privacy. It should be in the about section. Where's the about section? There it is. There we go. Space, save. So we'll commit that later, but I just didn't want to forget about that. Okay, no tiered access, $100 saved every year compared to leading subscriptions and finance apps. True. Zero subscriptions, zero ads, zero data collection, zero access tiers. True. Zero online threat services. True. So really like this section. Turned out really nice. I love the light teal numerical accents and the I don't know how to describe this, but just the evenly spaced, center justified stats here. So looks really nice, looks really clean. Everything kind of in here is center justified, whereas like this is left and right, this is center, left and right, center, and then we're going to go back to like a single left justified thing here. So about features, before we even talk about the features, this used to be solid black and this used to be just like a lighter gray. And I really wanted to do something a little bit more captivating than that. So we took the gradient M element, EM, that was dropped in there, and I just repurposed it. I think Claude was using it for something else. It was for the eyebrows or something, and you know me, I hate eyebrows. So we repurposed it, and I just did a gradient on it with, we did the accent token 600, 400, 600. So it's nice and like, I don't know how to, so if you had like a light one on either end, it just felt weird. It just felt like it was just trailing off and it was bleeding into the background. So I nested it between two good primary tokens, the 600. The 600 is what we're using for the logo and those call to action buttons. So it feels grounded, but it also adds that 400 token in the middle as a transition. So again, it feels solid, it feels grounded, but also adds that nice gradient shine to it. So I like it. Automatically categorized. Yeah, so this is what the new table looks like now. I love the new table design. This is the core part of entering. Like this is the feature. Like this feature has to look good. It has to work good. It's everything. Everything depends on this. So I am constantly reviewing it, tweaking it, and making it better. And I love where it's at right now. I'm not saying it's done. It's probably never going to be done. But right now it's in such a good spot. So we can see that we have the categorization, the category and the type has been concatenated into just one column. So the type is the fact that it's red and the category is what it says: food, general, auto, shopping, etc. We also have an account now, so that looks good. Description, I love the merchant avatars. These used to be primary colored and it was hideous. And so we did a desaturated color ramp and we also tweaked it so that it looks, it uses a different contrast ratio on the light and the dark theme version. So super happy with how these turned out. I'm still exploring the possibility of actual merchant icons. There's just a lot of things to consider with that. So, given that we can't dynamically pull them from the internet, because again, I want this to be an offline piece of software, or at least most of the functionality works offline. I think that's also baked into the security philosophy. So there is my personal intent is to try to keep it as offline as possible to avoid any sort of adding vulnerabilities or threat surfaces. So, but if people want some more dynamic functionality and features, like going out and grabbing merchant icons or saving like a fave icon, or manually uploading their own, or having like a pre-made repo or something, I don't know. I'll definitely explore it if I get the feedback, but I think this is definitely a great step forward for now, and it fulfills its purpose. So I'm super happy with it. So big feature update that we added, tracking recurring spending. This was definitely something I had in my mind from the very beginning, and I've just kind of been thinking about how to implement this, and it's not in its final form. It's not. There's actually so much I still want to change, but I wanted this to be something that ships in the 1.0 release, and we're already at 0.5, and I really wanted this in there. So this is what it looks like right now. I'm actually pretty happy with this first iteration, but it's probably going to change a lot, to be honest. But right now, functionally, it's phenomenal. It works really well, and so it predicts things really well. You can add or remove any of the things that it predicts. You can make edits to any of the predictions. You can, of course, add your own and create, manual ones that you wanna track, and it forecasts it into the future, and it does a really good job. So I'm super excited with it. Let me get a drink of coffee here. The next one is reports. You're all already familiar with this if you've been following along. We do have a report suite here. I'll show you. So this is the cash flow report. Let me put on light settings real quick, just so it matches. Yeah, so this is our reporting section. We've condensed this a lot. This used to be like kind of expanded out and took up a lot of room. And I've just picked the 3 strongest reports that we had and put them in a tab section under reports. So yeah, I think it looks really good. It looks a lot better. And we can always add more. We have plenty of space to add more. And if we want to explode them out in the future again, we can do that. But for now, I think it looks fantastic. So yep, you're already familiar with that. Looks great. Privacy policy. I love this section, not only because of what is in it, because I love the fact that we have such a strong privacy respecting piece of software here, but also just like the way it looks. I really just love, the heading, the light teal accent links to go read the policy itself, which we'll click, and also takes you to the GitHub repo. I love the layout down here, how we're using this line and how it's different than the ones we used up here. These were vertical lines. Now we have a nice horizontal line, so we're keeping it consistent but diverse. And a nice little file here that just shows our Aventurine database app and the SQLite logo, because that's what we're using to store the data. It's going to be in a SQLite file. So, and it mentions the encryption here. Yeah, encrypt your data in local SQLite file. Yeah, so I really love this section. I think it's super clean. Aesthetically, I love it, and of course, for what it is, I love it. And yeah, here's the privacy policy it links to. I love this, to be honest. It's super organized, super clean, takes you to the links and all that. So this is awesome. Love this. And then next is the pricing here. I also really like this section. It just feels really clean and professional. I know, I forget, it was, I want to say it was probably like the second or third stream, maybe. I don't know. I forget which one, but more early on, I was talking about what I was learning as far as marketing and pricing, and how like having the 3 plans and having a one obvious plan and all that is a good way to get people to engage and find the plan that works for them. It what is the word? Conversion. It fuels conversion. So it communicates what you're trying to do, and it kind of incentivize action, right? Because you're able to just make two quick comparisons. It's low mental load for people. You're not bombarding them with a ton of information. You're just giving them two simple comparisons and one obvious answer. So in this case, there's like one comparison and two obvious answers, but the one obvious answer is not available yet. So, I don't know if that's optimal marketing or whatever, but I really like the design of this. I had the gold accents going down, kind of like a rock edge shape or whatever. It's kind of interesting, kind of edgy, kind of it's got the gradient as well, kind of classy. So yeah, I really like that. But yeah, we're in beta, so beta is free. You don't have to worry about any sort of pricing just yet. You get access to all the updates leading to 1.0, and we'll click the download beta button for free in a second. But you'll see right below it, updates are included and they keep coming. See every release. Here's that off teal link again. And it's also down here in the footer, releases down here. So we're going to click this. I'm super stoked about what we're about to show you. FAQ is the same. And then, yeah, what is personal should be private. We got the gradient there as well, and download mentoring. Okay, so two buttons that I want to show you. See every release. We click that. Here's our releases. I love this. What is going on here is that it is actually pulling. It's not pulling it live, but there is a workflow in the CI with my GitHub and with Claude where every time I push a release, it also publishes that release to the website. So it's completely automated. I don't have to go in and like manually add this, add a new section in the HTML and CSS and all that crap. It just does it automatically. It pulls the notes from the release from GitHub, and it also links to the source archive on the GitHub. So here's the 5.0 release. Here's all the same notes, the assets, the repo, all of that. So love this. I think this is so cool. It's not perfect yet because we actually did push 5.2 because I forgot to update the logo with our new logo for the package. So people were still getting that old like olive thing. And when I say people, it's just me. I don't think anybody's gotten this yet, but yeah, so we fixed that. And one other thing, so it's on 5.2 and the CI build failed for pushing this time. So I have to investigate that, but it was working beautifully. And it pulled obviously the old ones because I implemented this recently, but it did the 4.0 and the 5.0 perfectly. And I was so stoked. So I'm really excited for this. I love automation, not just like, LLM kind of automation, but just normal automation, just having things pull from the sources of truth and display them in a nice, attractive way on the website. So that's super cool. And yeah. Okay, so the final thing that we're going to show you, so we did releases, is download beta for free. So this was, or still is, linking to a Gumroad link. I did make a Stripe. I don't know if I'm going to actually pursue Stripe much further. The problem with Stripe is that they don't have any sort of native file hosting. And that's not necessarily a problem because there's a way to just fix that. But the way around that, or the way to have a solution for that, is really complicated. And it's not to say that I can't do it. It's just convoluted for where we're at right now, right? Like you got to do the webhook and then a server, and then the webhook, sends a thing to the server authenticates it, generates a one-time download link or whatever, and sends that to the email of the person who got it. And then, the files are there. And then if they follow the link, it goes back. And so that infrastructure is just really complicated for something that it's a beta, right? We're trying to get this into as many hands as possible. If we want to do some license enforcement and stuff like that, more, I don't know, rigorous or expansive, scaled sales or whatever, then yeah, I mean, Stripe does has a lot of great features, but for right now, probably not going to pursue it much further. And the good news is that Gumroad made some recent changes, like as of like the last 24 hours, I think, and now it looks phenomenal. So we're going to click download beta for free. And look at this, our buttons now match the teal. That was broken before. And I went ahead and updated the landing page, made it just super simple, made sure that logos were everywhere so people feel confident that this is in fact the same thing, and it is. Aventurine app is in the domain there. I can also use a custom domain, so I'm going to try to link that up so that it's on the same domain as the website. That would be phenomenal. And yeah, just a quick rundown of the same information that's on the website. And then, yeah, name a fair price. It should just be 0. So you just pay 0, you put 0, and you're good to go. If you wanted to pay more, you could. But the beta is free. It's supposed to be free. So feel free to just make it 0. And then it shows how many downloads. These are me. I just did some test downloads. So it's just 2. And it gives you the versions. I don't know if there's automation or workflows to automatically update any of the information on a Gumroad listing based off of my GitHub CI. It would be really nice if there was, because right now I have to manually do this and manually upload the new files and all that. So I'm going to explore that. There's probably not, to be honest. Gumroad just isn't quite that robust, but if there is, it'd be great. But yeah, this is manual for right now. It is what it is. I don't mind. We're small enough. And then yeah, so you would put 0. I put in 0. You click I want this, and then it takes you to checkout. All you need to do is put in an email address, and then it'll generate the thing, and you'll be able to access it. As long as you have that email address, it'll give you immediate access to download, and then for as long as you have that email address, you can do it. I just want to pull up one of my, not going to give you my real email address, but I will put in an email address to show you what it looks like here. 1 second. I get aliases so that if I ever give up my email address to a scammer or whatever, I can just blow up the alias without compromising my real email address. So 1 second. Cool. Okay, so I just literally made a brand new one. Okay, so testing.brisket699@passmail.com. So I will click get. This will send me an email, and I do get the email. Of course, I'm not going to show you my inbox or whatever, but without even there's not even like a confirmation link that you need to click. Like as soon as you provide literally any email, you will get access to the file. So if you wanted to use a throwaway email, you totally could. However, if you don't remember that email and have access to that email come like a later release, especially if you buy it, like the 1.0 release, you won't be able to access the files again. So with the Gumroad system, so I can do licensing. So I have to see if you'll still need access to an email to redeem a license. I can generate a license and have that ship with the email, but I don't know if you still need the email to redeem that license in the future. So again, I'm not trying to make it super, anti-piracy or whatever. Like I just want to make the software and distribute the software. That's really, I just want to sell the software. If you want to go through crazy lengths to pirate it, I go for it. I really don't care. I just, like I said, this is a passion project for me because I needed this tool. So yeah, I think Gumroad and the way that it's structured here is a nice middle ground, because yeah, the files are right here. You provide an email, you get the files immediately. It's all good. So yeah, you can download any of these, all of them. App image, this is Linux, RPM, Fedora Linux, exe, Windows, Debian, for any Debian based Linux distro. I do have access to a MacBook, and I did get. Um, I am working on compiling it for Mac. Mac is not my strong point though, so it might take a little while. So I don't think it's that complicated, but um, yeah, I just don't. I only use Mac for very specific tasks. So, um, but yeah, that I do want to have a Mac version available for you guys. So that is in the works. It's just going to take a while. So yeah, that is it. Those are the updates. And then I will also go back here. One of the things that it's not something I can really show you visually per se, but it is something that I'm continuing to work on, is the dictionary, the merchant dictionary for automatic categorization. So we're still not quite at 80% automatic categorization. I've done some more synthetic tests. I've also been working like with my own exports with my own bank. And we're like, a synthetic test is like 65%, maybe 70%. And then when I'm doing exports from my real bank, it's like 50%, which is honestly still not even that bad, like 50%, but we want that to be a lot better. So I am having Claude update the dictionary. If there is no other reason to use LLMs for coding, this is a great reason, because this would otherwise be a completely monotonous, awful, boring task that can just be done so much quicker and so much more efficiently thanks to AI. So all I'm having it do is reach out to the internet and just look up the names of popular merchants and chains and just copy those names, associate them with the category in our system, and put that in the dictionary. It's not doing anything else with those merchants. It's just associating the name with the category. So, for example, burgers, chicken, Mexican, all that is food. So Taco John's is food. Taco Bueno is food. I know Taco Bueno. Taco Tico, Taco Del Mar, El Taco, all that. I don't know if Del Taco's in here. I don't know if any Del Taco, but that's all it's doing, right? It's just grabbing the names of things that exist that I could never do because I don't know what's out there, and compiling them into a dictionary. The dictionary is completely local. Like I said, there is absolutely nothing that reaches out to the internet and grabs merchant list. It doesn't do a lookup or anything like that. It has a completely local dictionary. Hold on. Phone is ringing. Completely local dictionary that it references when it's looking at your merchant description for an upload. So all happens locally. You don't have to worry about that. But to make that work, we have to make the dictionary robust, and there has to be some regular updates to that dictionary. So we are continuing. I think we've doubled it in size since last time. So yeah, we're getting a nice chunky dictionary going, and that's exactly what we need for auto categorization to work as optimally as possible for people. So because we want to reduce, the goal is to reduce abandonment, right? If somebody opens up the app and uploads their transactions from their bank export and like 20% are categorized and they got to sit there for the other 80% and click, 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 that is an abandonment nightmare. They're not going to want to use the app. Yes, it'll remember their preferences in the future, so they won't have to do that again, but that's still a lot of work for people, especially if you upload like 5 years worth of transactions, because you've been with the bank for a while and all that. So we want to reduce that abandonment rate. Finance apps in particular, through some research that I've been doing, finance apps have high abandonment rate just in general. Go figure, personal finance and budgeting just isn't quite as sexy as gambling and video games and all that. So the abandonment rate for the app is something we want to make sure that we're taking care of. We don't want people abandoning the app for obvious reasons. That just means that they're not going to want to use it anymore. Now, the good news is, from a business perspective, because I'm charging up front for it, it's not that big of a deal to me if they abandon it, because I'm not doing like a subscription service or whatever. But the goal is to have subscription SaaS quality, a subscription / SaaS quality experience for people. So I want modern SaaS UI features, usability, all of that. I don't want people to abandon their finances. I want people to get better at spending money. I think society and the world would be so much better if people were good with their money. So abandonment really isn't necessarily about my business per se, so much as it is like the actual mission. So, um, yeah, please do not abandon your financial apps. Whatever app you're using, please use it. Please learn from it. Please be good with your money, because that is what's going to make life better for you and for all of us. We're all in this together. So, yeah, yeah, this was the last thing I did, and we got to do some more tests. So, but yeah, development's coming along. I'm really happy to share all that stuff with you. The UI is something I've really been paying attention to lately. Here's the transactions stuff live in the app. I think this looks phenomenal. This is super cool. Here's like an example synthetic description that I had generated, and then it was able to just concatenate that to a simple merchant description, or simple merchant name rather. So anything that's in the dictionary should replace whatever convoluted merchant description was provided. Like, here's Comcast, say Comcast cable, Com 800, Comcast Springfield. Yeah, just, again, I don't know if they all look like that. It's using synthetic data, but it is going to concatenate that to something, or is that the right word? Not concatenate, truncate, to something smaller. So this looks really nice. The filters look good. No other income. Here's our primary income. Again, this is all just synthetic data, but yeah, this looks really nice. One thing that I immediately thought of basically after I published this latest release is like, what if people want to see entertainment and shopping? So I want to make these checkboxes. But to make them checkboxes, this filter pill is going to have to expand. I don't know how big that gets. There's a decent amount of forehead room up here, but if everything is a checkbox, especially if we do checkboxes for this and checkboxes for this, I don't know how that's going to look. So that might be another UI problem we're going to have to be solving here shortly. But I think I definitely want checkboxes, because I want people to be able to look at multiple things. You shouldn't have to just settle for like only seeing shopping, because that might not be everything in your story that you're like, okay, well, how much is rent and utilities, right? These are fixed costs associated with living. I should be able to look at both. So yeah, I was playing around the software the other day, and I noticed that. I was like, damn, yeah, we need to add that. So we'll be working on that. Statements look good. Yeah, if we can get the import, onboarding, and categorization working perfectly, you probably won't be spending much time in your cash flow and balance sheet. Well, definitely the cash flow. Balance sheet, you'll have to spend time in here to upload or to update your balances so that you can track your net worth and all that. I haven't found a way around that yet, but at least you won't really be working with this spreadsheet. The fact that a lot of our user base, I suspect, will be spreadsheet refugees means that I'm not super worried about the friction that this will cause. I think they'll welcome it. They'll be like, okay, it's there. I know how to use it. It's fine. But again, if you're a spreadsheet refugee, you might be like, well, it'd be really nice to have something like Monarch or YNAB or Tiller or whatever. Well, not Tiller, but Mint or whatever, and have it all just done for me, so I don't have to mess with spreadsheets. So absolutely agree with that. You shouldn't be spending too much time in here, especially if we get everything else buttoned up. But for the time that you do have to spend in here, I think we've made it really easy to use and attractive and simple. So that looks good. Portfolio is pretty much still a static tool. It's going to stay static. I was uploading my portfolio in my database the other day in here, and I really like the way it was working. But I do have some changes in mind. I won't say them right now, but I have some changes in mind. And then, yeah, here's the recurring thing. I think this is super cool. It projects out to the future. These are future transactions. These are paid transactions. It doesn't necessarily know that you've paid per se. So this won't just randomly, or not randomly, but it won't go solid just because it gets um, it detects a transaction. It sees the transaction on your import. It's just going off a date. So if the date passes, then it fills in. So that's the way it works now. I'd like to make it a little bit more transaction aware. So we'll probably be working on that. There's just, like I said, this is literally the very first iteration. So this is going to go through a lot of iteration before it's where it's like perfect and bulletproof. But like I said, it still looks pretty good right now. So, and they do highlight. So like if you click this, it highlights what it is. Interest payment, interest payment. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah, and then settings. Yeah, we didn't really change much for the themes. Themes are still in pretty good shape. Light and dark, I think, you know, I never want to call anything finished, but this is probably not going to be working on the light and dark themes much anymore, as we're working on actually making sure the functionality of features is good. And here's the colorful theme. I like the colorful theme. I'm glad we added this. This is nice. So that looks good. I don't think we added any other major preferences or settings. No, we didn't. And then, yeah, the database stuff. So, yep, that is what we have right now. It's pretty straightforward and simple, and that's sort of the point. Should be super easy to use and maintain and upkeep. And I think we're getting there. I think we're really close. We're at 5.2 or 0.5.2, the 1.0 release. I don't really have a date. I don't have my heart set on a date as far as a 1.0 release. It's kind of just going to be ready when it's ready, but I'm not going to stop working until we get that 1.0 release. So stay tuned for all of that. I will be doing this is more of a feature update stream later on today. I might be doing some development, or tomorrow, one of them. We'll do a development stream where I'm in VS Code and we're prompting, we're changing, we're coding, we're doing all kinds of things. So until then, I will catch you all later. Thanks for tuning in and hope you stay well.